Imagine a world without borders. No flags, no nations, no kings. And yet, you are afraid, not of lions, not of the cold, but of other humans. Because one night, without warning, another group may arrive. They are not targeting one man. They are targeting your people, your camp, your children, your future. This is not a raid for food. This is not a personal feud. This is something far more unsettling. So the question is simple and deeply disturbing. When did humans begin killing other humans? And more importantly, when did groups of humans learn to cooperate in order to kill other groups? Welcome to the ancient code. And today we trace the origins of war. And what we uncover is far older and far more complex than most people imagine. In 1996, an archaeologist forced his field to confront something deeply uncomfortable. His name was Lawrence Keeley. The book was called War Before Civilization. At the time, a powerful idea dominated anthropology and archaeology. That early human societies were mostly peaceful. That violence, when it occurred, was rare, ritualized, exaggerated by colonial observers. Misinterpreted by modern eyes, weapons were reclassified as hunting tools. Fortifications were reinterpreted as ritual spaces or flood defenses. Mass graves were dismissed as anomalies. Keeley challenged all of it. By systematically comparing archaeological evidence with ethnographic records of recent hunter-gatherer societies, he reached a conclusion that made many scholars deeply uncomfortable. Warfare in small-scale societies was not marginal. It was not symbolic. It was not rare. It was frequent. It was lethal. And it shaped entire communities. In some societies, Keeley estimated that 15 to 25% of adult men died as a result of warfare, and around 5% of women. Think about that. In modern wars, those numbers would be considered catastrophic. Society-breaking, historically extreme. The data is debated. The archaeological record is incomplete. The margins of error are wide, but even conservative interpretations point in the same direction. For much of human history, dying violently at the hands of other humans was not exceptional. It was normal. And that forces a dangerous question. If war wasn't invented by states, if it didn't begin with kings, armies, or borders, then where did it come from? If we move forward in time, certainty increases. By the 4th millennium BCE, there is no ambiguity. Recognizable states were waging organized wars. In Uruk, in Mesopotamia, around 3500 BCE, written records describe conflict, tribute, conquest. In pre-dynastic Egypt, by 3100 BCE, rulers are depicted smiting enemies, counting captives, expanding territory. Later, complex warfare appears independently in China, the Indus Valley, and beyond. Here, the evidence is overwhelming. Written records, fortifications, standing armies, battle scenes carved in stone. No serious scholar disputes this. But this clarity creates a deeper problem, because states do not emerge from nothing. They rise out of earlier societies. So the real question isn't whether states fought wars. It's this: what happens if we move backward, before states existed at all? In the Neolithic period, something fundamental changes. Humans settle. They farm. They store surplus. They become tied to land. For the first time, people accumulate resources that cannot move. And suddenly they have more to defend. More importantly, they have more to lose. Archaeology reveals a striking pattern. Across the Near East and Anatolia, early farming communities begin to fortify themselves. At Çatalhöyük, in modern Turkey, houses are packed tightly together, forming a continuous defensive barrier. There are no streets. Access is controlled from above. At Tel Magzalia in northern Iraq, early walls restrict entry and movement. At Hatzilar nearby, the pattern becomes unmistakable. The village is destroyed, rebuilt with walls, destroyed again, rebuilt stronger, then abandoned. This is not accidental. These settlements show cycles of destruction and reconstruction. Repeated violence, escalating defenses, persistent threat. But even here, the question remains, is this where war begins? Or is this merely the moment when war becomes visible in the archaeological record? To answer that, we have to look deeper. 3 sites have become central to this debate. Talheim, Germany, approximately 7,000 years ago. A pit containing the remains of 34 people, men, women, children. Many were killed by blows to the head. Few show defensive wounds. This suggests surprise, possibly execution. An entire community wiped out. Ofnet Cave, Bavaria, approximately 8,500 years ago. 2 pits filled with human skulls. Many showed trauma, cut marks, blunt force injuries. The skulls were not scattered. They were carefully arranged, curated, preserved. This suggests ritualized violence following lethal conflict. Jebel Sahaba, Sudan, approximately 13,000 years ago. Perhaps the most chilling sight of all. A cemetery where individuals were buried in small groups over time, not all at once. Many skeletons contain embedded stone points. Women and children are among the dead. This was not a single battle. It appears to represent repeated attacks on the same community. Long-term, persistent, organized violence, and crucially, some of these sites predate agriculture. Some predate permanent settlement. So what exactly are we seeing? Raids, feuds, executions, or something closer to war before it had a name? Studying prehistoric violence is extraordinarily difficult. Many fatal injuries leave no marks on bone. Victims were often not buried. Fossils are rare. Context is fragile. Absence of evidence does not mean absence of violence, but it does demand caution, especially when we move deeper into the Paleolithic, tens of thousands of years into the past. This is where simplistic narratives collapse, and where we need to ask better questions. Neanderthals show clear evidence of injury and trauma. Many skeletons bear healed fractures, especially to the head. At El Cedron Cave in Spain, a group of Neanderthals, likely a family, were killed in a single event and butchered. Cannibalism is also documented among early modern humans, such as at Gough's Cave in Britain. But cannibalism alone does not prove warfare. It can reflect famine, ritual behavior, social collapse, terror. So what about violence between species? The Neanderthal known as Shanidar III from modern Iraq suffered a penetrating wound, likely caused by a projectile, possibly thrown, possibly by a modern human. This is one of the strongest pieces of evidence suggesting direct violent interaction. But even here, researchers remain cautious. Isolated incidents do not equal organized war. This brings us to a critical distinction. Not all group violence is war. A coordinated killing for justice, revenge, or punishment may look identical archaeologically, but socially it is not the same. What defines war is abstraction. Any member of the opposing group becomes a legitimate target, regardless of personal guilt. War is not just behavior, it is a state of mind, and that makes identifying its origins extraordinarily difficult. To look beyond the limits of archaeology, we turn to our closest living relatives, chimpanzees. In the wild, chimpanzees conduct organized, coalitionary attacks. territory patrols, ambushes launched only when numerically advantaged, coordinated male raiding parties, killing rival males, capturing females rather than killing them. These attacks are episodic, but persistent. They are organized, they are strategic, they are lethal. If chimpanzees can do this, then the capacity for coalitionary violence likely predates Homo sapiens. This leads to a powerful idea proposed by historian Samuel Bowles. For long stretches of human prehistory, lethal group conflict may have been frequent enough to shape evolution itself. Specifically, it may have selected for costly cooperation. Individuals willing to risk or sacrifice their lives for the group. Groups that cooperated more effectively survived. Groups that didn't vanished. In this view, warfare and cooperation are not opposites. They are inseparable. Recent synthesis research describes humans as Janus-faced, capable of coalitionary lethal violence and of unprecedented peaceful cooperation between unrelated groups. Trade, alliances, diplomacy, peace systems. Both tendencies have deep root. They appear to have co-evolved. Not war or peace, but war and peace. One final twist. Some researchers argue that human prosociality emerged through selection against reactive aggression. In egalitarian societies, overly violent individuals could be collectively eliminated. Language enabled coalitions to form. Dominance was punished. This execution hypothesis may explain why Homo sapiens became more tolerant, cooperative, and socially complex than other hominins. Violence once again shaping peace. So, when did humans first go to war? The honest answer is this: state warfare emerges clearly with civilization. Organized intergroup violence appears earlier, in the Neolithic. Coalitionary killing likely has deep evolutionary roots. The capacity for war existed long before war became institutionalized. War was not suddenly invented. It emerged gradually, shaped by biology, by culture, by environment, by cooperation. And understanding that may be the key to understanding ourselves. What do you think? Which idea surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one. And if you want to keep exploring ancient mysteries, lost civilizations, and the hidden forces that shaped humanity, make sure to subscribe, because we're just getting started.